To steps to starting a small business: research, planning, and execution. A Lloyd and Lloyd Parents Workshop series. I'm your host, Tonia Lloyd, and it's an absolute honor to present to our parents tonight. Thanks again to Ms. Cooper for the opportunity. I've had the experience of working with Canadian entrepreneurs, helping them write their business plans, as well as learn how to attain financing. And later on, I worked as a business manager where I had to facilitate the loan review process and ensure that a lot more entrepreneurs had access to seed funding. I would be hoping to share some of these experiences with you and provide you with the resources you need to get started if you are at the startup stage. And if you aren't at the startup stage, hopefully you'd be able to still have access to helpful resources. I got this quote from one of my mentors, Jared, and I was really grateful for it because it was a reminder of, what really keeps us from doing what we have to do or going after what we really want. And the quote is from Rumi, and he says, "Excuses are fabricated illusions we create to rationalize our behaviors when we are too afraid to go after what we really want." And so tonight, I'd like for you to think, what it is that you really want. If you had access to all of the resources you needed, if you had access to things are just perfect. Everything was lined up perfectly for you. What is it that you'd be doing? Right? And if the answer to that question is I would be running my own small business, I would be, I'd be starting a daycare, or I'd be starting a camp, or I'd be starting my own beauty salon or my own events organization. If you know exactly what that is, then let's take the steps we need to make your dream a reality. We'd be looking at 3 pieces: research, planning, and execution. And I'd like to thank my partner, Sean, for helping me to really, streamline the process. And it's always good for us to have more than one mind on things, or to brainstorm together. It makes everything a lot easier having our team, right? So we have research, planning, execution. Those are the 3 pieces we'd be looking at tonight and working through together. Research. We have an entrepreneur quiz. Links can be found in the YouTube description. I'd like to thank Wa for that suggestion. We are also going to be identifying the pain and the solution for that your business would be bringing to the community. We'll be looking at some market research techniques and types of business structures that you may be interested in depending on the size of your business. Here's the link to the entrepreneur quiz. I took it myself. It was very interesting. Just gave some insights on what entrepreneurs do. This researcher did a lot of analyzing and has a lot of experiences with businesses. And I think it's a really helpful quiz. I found it to be useful. Next, we'll be looking at identifying the pain we want to solve. For our company, Lloyd and Lloyd, there were 2 key things that we felt we wanted to remedy or help remedy. And that was the fact that 1 in 4 people have mental health challenges. And even bigger than that, a large percentage, over 75% of persons with mental health challenges never get the help they need. Also, suicide is one of the top 10 leading causes of death amongst U.S. nationals ages 10 to 30 plus years old. And this is according to the American Psychological Association, right? And so our solution was to develop the Resilient Stars program, a copywritten life skills program that combines CBT and cognitive behavioral therapy and motivational interviewing. as well as our mountain trail camps that builds the physical and mental toughness of our campers. And we serve students as young as pre-K all the way to grade 12. And we found that the culture and the mentality of asking for help and learning new tools has been, slowly but surely changing in the communities that we serve. And it's a really, really powerful and beautiful thing to see children say, you know what, I want to learn skills to manage my anxiety, or I want to learn skills to have a stronger sense of self-esteem. To put it in to quote one student, she said to me, I wanted to do this program and my mom wanted me to do this program so that I could increase my mental health because I want to become a better person. And those words were really, really touching and meant a lot to hear that from her. And she's a 7th grader. Okay, so when you're thinking about your pain, the pain that you want to solve, pain is a really strong word. So let's substitute pain with even value, the value that you want to bring to your customers, to your community, right? Even if that value is seeing persons who've been diagnosed with women who've been diagnosed with cancer, seeing them feel beautiful again by creating your gorgeous wigs, right, where they could choose from a selection of beautiful wigs and it just looks so natural and so beautiful that they feel stronger, they feel happier, right? And that is something that you're adding value to others, right? If you are, I met a mom, Daniela, and I was really impressed with her ability and her team's ability to bring parents out to one of the girls' basketball games. And she said to me, "Oh, come out to the basketball game. We're gonna have tap and we're gonna have cheerleading." And I thought, well, that was beautiful. And I brought my baby and my nephew out to the game, and we had a great time. And just seeing the entire gymnasium was full with parents and students, and everybody was having a great time, and it was just phenomenal, right? And so the gift of being able to pull people together and have amazing events, that is something that you may want to tap into as an entrepreneur and leverage that gift that you have to bring people together and to have networking opportunities. Okay, so let's move on to market research techniques. We have different types of techniques. We have the informal as well as the formal kinds, right? The informal looks at interviews, whether you're interviewing your competitors. Of course, you don't have to let them know, "Hi, I'm your competition and I want to interview you." Right? We could always call them up and say, "Hi, I'm interested in your services, and I was wondering the cost of this particular service, and or I'm doing some research for to find out more information on companies like yours. Do you mind telling me how you got started, some obstacles that you had to overcome?" And you'd be surprised that a lot of business owners are willing to just chat and let you know what they did, some of the things that you have to look for. Even if you tell them, "I'm thinking about going into this line of business, but I'm going to have a different target market," right? So you're not in direct competition with them, but they're still willing to help you navigate a few bits and pieces or ins and outs. Surveys. We do have things like SurveyMonkey to help with surveys. Facebook groups. You could post your questions to these groups, and you'd be surprised, to find a lot of people willing to share their experiences with services similar to yours, willing to let you know how much they're going to pay for the service, how many times they would like to use the service. Right? So this plays a really important part in when you're developing your business plan, when you're developing your sensitivity analysis for your financials, right? That's where you look at your best case scenario, your worst case scenario, and your most likely case scenario for your finances. Now we have LinkedIn groups, where it's pretty much the same idea as the Facebook groups. What I have found However, with social medias that I've gotten the most in terms of return on investment, I've really been satisfied with LinkedIn. You know, where I get the support. Like people, other entrepreneurs see my posts and they come out to the events, and it's just really satisfying. The business model canvas. I do have a link for that in the below in the YouTube link in the description. Just in case you're interested in learning more, I've put some links for the Udacity, the free courses that I did in back in 2012 that I found to be really helpful. I had a team of entrepreneurs working with me, and we're just meeting up and trying to support each other's businesses. Next, you have the North American Industry Classification System. That's where you can get all of the pretty much have access to huge amounts of data concerning the industries that you are curious about, whether that's the education industry, the health industry, the mental health space, the beauty industry, sports industry, any industry at all that you're interested in. You're going to see the groups of people who support these industries, the amount of monies that they pump into these industries, and it's really really good for you to have an idea, of course, of that, because you would be able to carve out your piece of the pie. Then you have the competitor analysis and the business SWOT analysis, and so there's this SWOT. The strengths and the weaknesses are internal to the company or to yourself if you're doing a personal SWOT, and the opportunities and threats are external. And so we have a bit of an interchange where your strengths help you to maximize your opportunities and to mitigate your threats. And when we are aware of our weaknesses, of course, we could do more things to mitigate the impact that our weaknesses could have. You know, whether that business weakness might mean not having enough staff, or, you know, not having enough startup capital, right? And we could think, well, okay, what resources are available to me? And I did put a lot of free and awesome resources there for you to have access to finding out more about funding opportunities, right? I was doing research myself, and there are a lot of funding opportunities. We just have to be willing to do some of the research to tap into it. But there are a lot of great opportunities. And then we have just one formal suggestion, the focus groups to test our products or services. So let's say you've created a cleaning service or cleaning product, and you brought persons in who you think would be most likely to use your product, and they test the smells, they test the effectiveness of your product, and they give you feedback that you need to before you put your product on market. Again, the point of us doing the research is to help us save on time, money, to get it right the first time, and to be very, very efficient. Next, we're stepping into, so, you know, you've done your research, you've collected your information, you have it in your notebook, you have it in one place, or you have it on your computer. And then we need to place all of that research into the plan, right? And into the business plan, because it's going to either serve as a blueprint for our companies or as a means of attaining funding, seed funding. So let's look at the elements of a business plan or business planning. I have also put a link for you to have access to a business plan template that I've used with my clients as well as personally. And I've also put a financial template tool from the company that I worked for in Canada, where I was the business manager. And their tool is really, really interactive, and they've had a lot of experience with it. So even though it's a Canadian-based tool, I think that you'll still find it very helpful. Okay, the business plan. So the executive summary is actually done last. It's 1 to 2 pages in length, and it's going to touch on all of the aspects: the business description, the products and services, the market and competitor analysis, the sales and marketing, the operations, the management team, the funding requirements, the financial summary, the risk analysis. It's going to touch on all of those pieces, including the history of your company if you've had business before. And so what I want to say here is that for many of my clients, they had never ever had business before. But what they were able to do was to say what they did as individuals, right? If they, for example, if they were always good at having successful events, right? Organizing events, they could say that, although this is my first time starting a business, I have had a lot of exposure and a lot of success in running events. And you could state the events that you've had very briefly and the feedback from people who participated, right? So the executive summary is supposed to be a summary, 1 to 2 pages. The business description. With the business description, you're looking at your business concept, right? What services will you be providing? Who are you selling to? Who's your target market? And what makes you unique or your competitive advantage? And when you think of what makes you unique, it's always like, almost like closing your eyes and saying to your ideal customer, when you think of my company, what do you think? And I ask this question to the students that I serve all the time. What do you think I do? And they say, you teach me skills on how to become a better person. And I like that very much. They feel as though they are getting the skills to keep on improving. As I told them, and I say now, we are all always continually seeking improvement, seeking growth. So I tell them when I'm talking to them, I'm talking to me too. Okay, product and services. Right, so you want to describe your product or your services here, the different, maybe you have different products for different segments, right, or different services for different groups. Your market and competitor analysis. You want to be comparing people who are in direct competition with you. They've been around for the same duration of time that you've been. They are interested or they sell the same products or services that you do, and you don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel, right? You can see what they're doing, how well they're doing it, and then find an aspect that you want to improve on because you're going to be bringing value in a different way to your community. The sales and marketing. For the marketing plan, there are now 7 P's. In my time, there were 4 P's. The product, the place, pricing, promotions, packaging, positioning, and people. So you really want to have a solid plan around those 7 P's, right? I used to be an avid follower of Shark Tank, and initially, I found Kevin O'Leary very hard to stomach because I thought he was so tough on entrepreneurs. But then I read his book, The Cold Hard Truth, and I really grew fond of Kevin because he said it's important to get the right team from the beginning. Get on the bus with the right team of people who are as enthusiastic about the goals of the company, the mission, vision of the company as you are. Or else you're always going to be sort of trying to force people along or trying to help them to see your vision, and it's not going to work. Right? So I did his book. If you want to get his book, it's called The Cold Hard Truth by Kevin O'Leary. It's a really good read. I learned that he has a learning disorder, dyslexia, and he was able to use it to his advantage, right? So it was really, really good getting to know that about him. He was very vulnerable and very open in his book. The operations plan, right? So you want to know your hours of operation. When would you be available for your customers, right? Where are you going to be available for your customers? And who's your team? Who's your management team? And it's really important to have the roles clearly defined so that people don't go about sort of mashing on other people's toes or not knowing exactly what their role in the business is. Funding requirements. I have put access to some funding, well, at least one funding website that has different opportunities. So please check out the links in the YouTube description. And I shared about the financial summary and the risk analysis, where we're looking at the SWOT, right? The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We're getting into the business structures now. A business lawyer would help you identify the best structure. And even before going to a business lawyer, think about where you're starting. Are you one person starting a business? You're going to be a sole proprietor. You will be responsible for all of the assets and all of the liabilities of your company. If you're a general partnership, you have 2 or more people sharing the one business and sharing or defining in their partnership agreements how they would like to share the profits as well as the losses of the company and how they would like to contribute to the company. The limited liability company, as I understand based on my own experience and research, it is the most flexible company structure where the owners would not be held liable for the company, as well as it's recognized as a separate entity. However, when you're filing taxes, you do have to report your personal report that on your personal tax documents. A C corporation is for larger companies. They have shareholders, right? They're interested in having a profit, and it's the company reports the taxes separately. The company is also responsible for its own liabilities. Next, we have the S Corp. It's similar to C Corp, except that the business is not taxed separately from the owners, and they could only have 100 shareholders and only one type of share. The B Corp is new to the U.S., a new structure that seeks both to benefit society as well as to generate money. So now we've looked at the planning piece, we've looked at research, we've looked at planning. We're now getting into execution mode, right? What do I have to do? When do I have to do it by? How can I improve? Constantly, how do I have to improve? Okay, research, statistics, marketing, sales, all of the elements. So it's time to execute the plan. We have the social media group to help with how to price and launch services. We're going to insert dates, right? We're going to use a SMART goal system where we are specific, we're measurable, we're attainable, realistic, or relevant, and we're time bound. We're going to complete the business plan. So again, check out that Porter business plan template that I've put in the YouTube description for you, and make a go at it. If you have any questions, please post us your questions. We will get back to you within 24 hours with responses. If we do not have the answers for you, I assure you we are going to find the resources for you. It's not going to be a problem at all. Speak to a business banker or research seed capital options, right? So you could go to your bank where you've developed or established a good relationship, your credit union, right? Or you can look into the link that I've provided from the New Jersey Business and Industry link. They were talking about different financing opportunities. Just talk for now and find out, just if I finish my business plan, just, how much, based on my credit, etc., how much startup money can I get, right? And the rate of paying that back. Create cold calling lists, right? So sometimes you're starting with warm calls to friends. All of us, we start with our friends and our family supporting our businesses, and then that grows, that expands as we remain, working on our product or service. Our service we provide it with integrity, and with accountability, and of course with humility, and we will grow slowly but surely. You're going to start to make a name for yourselves. Review business structure with a business lawyer and date, right? So you want to find out the best structure for your company. And again, remember this one little thing that I recently learned from reading Omar Salim's book. He's an accountant, and I do have a link for his book in the YouTube description as well. And he said that your structure it doesn't have to remain sort of fixed. Every year you could reassess, is this structure working for me, and do I want to change the different structure? Business plan, financial goals with an accountant. That was something that I really, really wish that I had from the beginning, right? And so it's something that I'll definitely be working on. Just knowing, what do I have to do for the year coming? How much do I have to generate? How much do I have to put aside for taxes? Or how much does the company have to put aside for taxes? And what new sorts of revenue streams could we look into, right? So it's always thinking ahead, planning ahead, and using our time wisely to do a lot more planning, a lot more research planning, and then of course the execution. And we have a lot of resources. We have resources to accountants that we have in the links, business lawyers, it's in the link. We do not have a social media or marketing consultant in the link. But that's something, if you want us to look into that for you, we'll more than do it. All right, so all of these resources, the free business training from New Jersey Business and Industry Association. There's a New Jersey Business portal as well. The Small Business Resource Guide, found that was very helpful, particularly with regard to the Chambers of Commerce, where you could become a member, have access to networking with other fantastic entrepreneurs like yourselves, and just really just grow and enjoy the process. I was telling about Omar Salim's book. It was written in 2004, still very relevant. He does straight talk about small business success in New Jersey, how to maximize the growth, cash flow, and profitability of your small business. Do have a business model canvas for those of you who are very creative and you want to see something on a canvas and do your testing and connect the dots and sort of really see that process map out. I did a free course with Udacity, and I did put the link in there for you if you're interested in the free course. And then there's access. You have access to the Porter's business plan template. As I shared, it was super easy for my clients and for myself to use. Links for the financial template is also in the YouTube link. Business lawyers in New Jersey, just in case you want to call. What I love about the calling the lawyers, some of them would say, I'll give you you call for a free consultation, and then they get into what it would cost if you want to continue business with them. So it's always good to at least get a free consultation. And then I have our one of our accountants, Mr. Ted Hulis. Right, and in case you're looking for someone to just start your process, or start talking, or just start. You could do this. You got this. Just start. Okay, so we've come to the end of our Parents Workshop series for the month of March. We looked at research, planning, and execution. It is time for you to execute. Take action, take action, take action. Let us know if you need any more resources. We are here for our parents and our family community. Special thanks again to Miss Cooper. Just for the opportunity to be able to share with you. It's so great. We really appreciate we really appreciate this and really appreciate you. Looking forward to our workshop coming up in April. We'll be looking at suicides, right? And having a discussion about that, about what do we do, and even before suicide occurs, how do we even deal with suicidal ideations? So that's coming up in April. Please stay tuned. Bye for now, and thanks again. Here are our details, just in case you want to email or check out our website, right? Everything is right here for you.